There we go. Okay. You want to jump up, buddy? Jump it up. Come here. You are so fluffy. Come here. He's very strong. Got him. All right, baby boy. Here, listen to this. You can hear him purring. See? Little love bug. All right. Hey guys, just update on what's been going on. A lot has happened even after the hiatus announcement and everything. So first things first, get this out of the way. There was some information that was revealed about my friend who committed suicide. He may not have been on the up and up. There was some lot of stuff going out, a lot of information coming out about him that I might have to reach out to essentially his victims. Yes, it's that fucking bad. To console them as well as make sure they're okay. There was some pretty fucked up shit we found out about him, which broke our hearts because this is someone that me and my brother were close to. He was like a third brother to us, and not only do I feel bad for the victims, I feel bad that we just didn't know, essentially. Jack, come on, buddy. Hey. Okay, there you go. Essentially, there was unfortunately evidence to support that he may have been a predator. There isn't even a may, he definitely was. There's like 5 people came out, and those 5 people I want to contact and help get them professional help for, because obviously being a victim of anything related to that is traumatizing. I was a victim of it myself at one point, and I want to make sure they get the help they need. So basically me and my brother are going through conflictions about that. It's like, we grew up with him. Ow. Jesus fucking Christ. Alright. Come on, go up. Jesus, the cloth. Damn, child. Yeah, if you ever wondered, no, I don't cut myself or anything, by the way. I have a cat. I have 2 of them. And they like to use my arm and my legs as a fucking canvas. Exhibit fucking A. Ow, damn my chest. So, Jet, I swear to God. Please. Yeah, essentially we're just conflicted about the whole thing. Like, you know someone for so long, and when you find out something fucked up about them, you don't even find out by, like, hearing it from them. You don't find out by hearing it from their family. No, you find out because they blew their brains out as a result of it. And it just... it hurts so much more. But now, honestly, I'm less concerned about him, right? I'm less concerned about the funeral or anything. I'm more so just wanting to reach out to the victims and see if there's anything I can do to help them. Because, as I've mentioned many times before, I run an organization that specializes in suicide prevention. We also deal with mental illnesses, trauma, and everything of the sort. So I want to reach out and help them. But yeah, it's just... The only way I can describe the whole situation is you think you know somebody, right? You know someone for decades, and you think that, oh, cool, I know this person inside and out, right? I know who this person really is. Turns out we really didn't. So, understandably, me and my brother are shell-shocked, and we feel horribly for the victims, and we want to reach out and help them. But, yeah, that whole thing... I'm still having trouble thinking about that, to be honest. But on to the next thing, because it gets heavier from here. Turns out, Mom was not only septic, nor did she have a stroke. Unfortunately, it's much worse. So, she needs a quadruple bypass surgery. Open heart. Yes, you're probably thinking the same thing I'm thinking. There's more than triple, yes. There's actually 4 major heart valves that, if clogged, can cause major blood flow restrictions, which is exactly what she's going through. As a result, on August 8th, I believe it is, she's going in for surgery. So, all that as well. And, sorry, I'm still thinking about... I'm still thinking about those victims. Those are people's children. Um, essentially, I'm feeling I'm starting to come to terms with all of that. I'm starting to somewhat wrap my head around it because, again, you know someone for so long, you assume you know them, you think you know them, and then you find out something horrible like this. It literally rocks your world. It shakes you to your very foundations. So, there's still that I'm still thinking about. I'm still trying to figure out how to help. Not even for the funeral with him. He's dead to me, honestly, at this point. Especially now that we have undeniable evidence that he definitely did some fucked up shit. I more so care about the victims more than anything right now. Like, that's my main priority, is using my organization, reach out, help them, get them professional help, and hopefully help them heal from it and have long, healthy lives, because what was said, I don't think I could ever unhear. I'm going to derail the conversation for a second and go on a little thing for a minute and just say something that's been on my mind a lot lately. There's a reason why people say don't meet your heroes, right? I mentioned a lot that I worked at a restaurant called Blueberry Hill in St. Louis. What I never mentioned was that it was one of my favorite restaurants growing up as a kid. I used to love going there with my parents. I used to love the scenery. I used to love the aesthetic and everything. But when I finally got a job there, it was the worst job I had ever worked. It ruined the experience for me. Like, I had a couple bosses that were cool to me and everything. I had a couple coworkers I liked, but like the job itself was horrible. The customers were shit, right? The conditions were horrible and all that. And then I was legally fired for having bipolar disorder. It's kind of why I'm stuck at home 24/7, to be honest. But that's what he was to me and my brother. He was our hero, and I'd imagine how we feel about him is how a lot of people felt about. I'm trying to think, because I know Michael Jackson was proven innocent recently, so I can't. So, okay, no, that is a good example, because I'd imagine how me and Patrick feel about him is how people felt about MJ when he was proven to be guilty, quote unquote, at the time. Because again, there's apparently information out now that proves him completely innocent. There's even a counter documentary. I don't care either way. The man's dead. Focus on the victims. Get them help. You know what I mean? Help the people that are still alive do better. Dude's fucking dead. And if he did do that, fine. Good riddance. But if he didn't, I don't know what to tell you, That dude's dead. Now you're just going after the family for the estate. And, at that point, I don't fucking know. But I feel like that's how me and my brother are going to eventually think about this, is the way that people felt about MJ when he was exposed for doing that. Like, the people who looked up to him, you know what I mean? As unfortunately, it's very similar. It's like, the main thing I can't get past is, like, again, it's just the main concept is just, you think you know someone so well. You think you've known them forever, and you think you know that person, but then they just turn out to be the worst kind of fucking person, and you don't know how to react. You don't know how to respond, what to feel and everything. I was numb when he did the deed, when he committed suicide. It hurt, right? But the more information I got, the more things didn't add up. There was something fishy, and my pain turned to numbness, because I'm like, okay, are we ever going to get answers on this? We finally got answers, and unfortunately, it was the worst fucking thing you could imagine. He did some fucked up shit. In fact, my brother, Patrick, still hasn't told me everything about it. He refuses to. That's a whole other thing entirely. I am not on speaking terms with the majority of my family at the moment. I am royally pissed at them. I was the last to find out that my mother needed the quadruple bypass surgery. They waited until the day I went to the hospital to even tell me, which means they knew for 3 fucking days. So just to go over the procedure kind of thing, whenever a major surgery is done like this, like an open heart surgery or anything that has a life-ending risk, right? Any major operation, there's what's known as a primary care list. These are phone numbers and people you put on the list to call in case something goes wrong or if assistance or information is needed. Every single person in that hospital, in that room that was part of our family, was put on that list except for me. I was completely left out. And my mother's justification and it was the same one she used for not telling me that she even needed the surgery in the first place. Oh, we didn't want you to freak out. We didn't want you to have anxiety. All due respect, and I know a few of my family members, especially my oldest brother, who's literally my biggest hero other than Patrick, obviously, and his fiancée Amber, soon-to-be wife. Congrats again, guys. I want you guys to know something. I respect the fuck out of you two, but I need you to know something. Our family's a bunch of narcissists. The communication between our family is not healthy. It's toxic as fuck. You can very rarely get actual communication between everybody. And even at family gatherings, I don't feel comfortable anymore. I don't feel like part of the family. I haven't for a fucking while. I tackle racial issues, political issues, world issues, mental illnesses, trauma help, everything. But despite all of that, I don't feel like part of the family. I don't feel accepted. I never fucking have. Not for the longest time, to be honest. Except by you guys. Except by you two, by my wife, obviously, in the other room, and by Crystal. That's it. Patrick was probably the only one there who actually tried to be there for me. And was like, I even tried to explain to him, like, there's a reason Mom's not listening. There's a reason she's not. She is a narcissist. She is a known narcissist. They don't listen. That is the problem with narcissism. They can't handle being called out on doing something wrong. In their eyes, they can never do wrong. It is a massive problem. And I do want to go on record and say that with narcissism, it is exactly like other mental illnesses where there is different degrees. Just because one person's a murderous narcissist, my future mother-in-law, does not mean another narcissist is the same way. That's the same thing with bipolar disorder, depression and everything. Just because one person who has bipolar disorder, has episodes, is going to flip the fuck out, doesn't mean another person is. There's different varying degrees. I feel the need to stress this out because lately I am seeing it more and more, and I'm sorry to everyone. This is pissing me off. There is a huge stigma against people who have mental illnesses. There's this stigma, there's this assumption that it's always the extreme. For instance, a lot of people don't know this. Paranoid schizophrenia and schizoaffective disorder are not the same thing. They're two completely different things. And when it comes to schizophrenia specifically, there's varying degrees. Yes, schizophrenia in severe cases is referred to as a type of insanity. You hearing and seeing things to a degree that it's almost as like you're imagining illusions coming into reality. Yes, that is considered a form of insanity. The irony being that the actual definition of insanity is repeating an action over and over and expecting a different outcome. That's the literal definition, which I've always found funny because is that not what politics is in a nutshell? But it's just these are things I know. These are things I spend my free time learning about and researching extensively, tirelessly, because I want to help the world. I want to save lives. I want to help people. That is my passion. And you think, oh, that, cool, you seem pretty cool. Yeah, I do try to be the nicest person I can be, but you know what? I'll be honest. Unless I'm at home with my kids and my wife, unless I'm streaming for you guys, unless I'm making content or doing something with friends, I don't feel comfortable anymore. I don't feel comfortable in public. I don't feel comfortable with family. I have to wear a fucking jacket just to avoid having an anxiety attack. And it's not due to any hidden trauma with the family or anything. Oh, trust me, that every problem I have with my family is very well addressed. My mom's a narcissist. My dad used to be a fucking monster. The list goes on. But I'm just tired of it, honestly. But, yeah, Mom needs a surgery. It's on August 8th. Britt and I are in the process of planning our hand fasting. She's even started calling me her husband, which I thought was really awesome. That will hopefully be on the 13th of August. I'll do a little, video afterwards just to be like, hey, things went well. It was fun. Meet my wife kind of thing. Face reveal for wifey if she's comfortable with it, since she's going to be all dressed up and everything. I told her flat out, for anyone who's seen my fiance, you can attest to this. My wife is naturally beautiful. She doesn't wear pounds of makeup, right? And thankfully I was able to help her work on her self-confidence because she comes from a very judgmental and fucked up family, to put it mildly. But over the years I've helped her to feel comfortable with who she is and how she looks and everything, and helped her to feel beautiful because, dude, no joke, I'm not even just trying to be sweet or anything. There are sometimes I'll look in her eyes and I am fucking stopped in my tracks because of how beautiful she is. So I'm very glad to know that she feels comfortable to not have to wear pounds of makeup around me, and that she only feels the need to even dress up, per se, like if we go out somewhere nice. Like I always tell her, you don't even have to do it then, but something about she wants to do it for me, and I'm like, okay, I appreciate it, as long as you're not, as long as you don't feel pressured, as long as you're comfortable with it, that's fine. But I prefer without the makeup, to be honest. She is, again, naturally beautiful. Not me. I am not naturally beautiful. I look like caveman. Unga boonga. But I rewatched the hiatus announcement because I wanted to reflect on what kind of mental state I was in a few weeks back and how I am today. I'll be honest, I'm feeling much better. Obviously, I have some personal gripes with my family, but that will be addressed with my family if and when I can find time to do so, because the only time I've had with them has been a birthday and a hospital visit, neither of which are appropriate to bring up any sort of conflict or even talk things out. So unfortunately, I've had no time to do so. And that's if they even listen to me to begin with, because fun fact about my family, the only way to actually get a word in edgewise is you have to talk over them. That is the only way you'll get a word in edgewise. I've always hated that, honestly. It's something I've grown accustomed to, and I hate it because I do it to my friends. You might have noticed I do it on stream sometimes when I have co-commentators. I don't intentionally do it. It's just something I am struggling to work on. But I promise I'll get better at that. More than anything, just out of respect for my friends and family and everything, and just to be a better listener and communicator. But I'm in a much better place mentally to kind of go into the suicide part when it applied to me. Essentially, yes, it is true that I was having suicidal thoughts, and I did actually attempt it. Thankfully, I had. There's one thing I want to correct. I lied. I flat out lied to you guys. My family didn't reach out to me. Brittany was on a hell shift. Everybody was gone somewhere. What truly pulled me back, to be honest, was as much pain as I was in, I knew I could heal. I knew I could beat it.
Hi.
Hi, honey.
Hello.
Come here.
Bad idea.
Hi.
I'm camera shy.
Peace for me.
Just for a second.
I just talk about how naturally beautiful you are, too. You got it right here. That's wifey.
Hi. Like I said, hello.
You okay?
Yeah.
She's a little camera shy. I think part of that is, again, due to the years of abuse from her mother and her family. I've never seen a family tear into their own relative that much before, and yeah, considering the family I come from, that's saying something. So yeah, I've actively helped her feel more comfortable with herself and helped her get back into doing what she loved and feel more comfortable with her appearance. Because as you can see, she's very beautiful. It's just when you grow up in an abusive family, you don't feel that way about yourself, right? You feel like you have to live up to these expectations, or that you have to look or dress a certain way. You're not allowed to be yourself. And I told her, fuck that, you be you. I told her flat out, I love her for her. I don't. Yeah, she looks good with makeup on, right? But I love the person underneath more, if that makes any sense. She's the reason, by the way. Like, I thought about my brother's wedding, because Sean is, like I said, one of my biggest heroes. Thankfully, isn't a dick. Patrick as well, although, unfortunately, my brother Patrick has COVID right now, so I hope he feels better. So that's scary. And just my wife and children. I know they're not my children, but considering I'm never having kids because of, 6 mental illnesses, abusive childhood, both of us come from fucked up families. We don't want to risk that. We don't want to take risks we don't have to, and if we do eventually have a child, we agreed we would adopt. Because like, and I'm gonna say something controversial here. Big surprise, man tackles political, racial, and world issues. Says something controversial. Woo. But essentially, Britt and I have mixed feelings about the system. Like, everybody's pro-life, right? But here's my case on this. And yes, I have openly done a stream for abortion rights because I believe it is not only 100% necessary, it's 100% fair. Because, and this is what people don't take into consideration, there are female teenagers every day that are raped. Where's their out? You're forcing them to raise a child that was conceived out of rape. How's that fair to them? There is unfit parents who would rather do this than have them grow up in an abusive orphanage that underfeeds them and underclothes them and treats them like dog shit. You know, they grow up in the system, which is arguably worse than some of the abusive households I've been to in my work. And yeah, so the way Britt and I look at it is that we would probably just adopt. Plus, I'm also I'm also an 8th generation when it comes to bipolar disorder, and I don't want to pass that on to a kid. It was hell for me to grow up with, and I don't want to pass it on. It's like, yes, I can guide them. I know what to do and what not to do as a parent, but it's not for me. It's like, yeah, I know I'd be a good dad. I'm really good with the kids I hang out with now, right? Because one of my how would I refer to her? I guess, yeah, sister. My mom, like me, likes to adopt people into the family. That's really cool to everybody. So I have this sister named Samantha Kay. Very sweet lady. Has an adorable 4-year-old named Evie, who is absolutely adorable and is obsessed with me, which I thought was really sweet. This cute little girl. And I was really good with her when we were at the Olive Garden. I was drawing with crayons with her, drew a little note and everything. You know, played games with her. They had like a iPad that had Plants vs. Zombies on it, and she loved that. And I talked about my shirt because she had a Beetlejuice and I had Awesome Possum. She was really cute. And it was just kind of reminding me, it's like, yeah, I'm really good with kids, but that's not the reason I'm not having any. It's just not for me. With what I am wanting to do, having a child is not a good idea. I would not be a very loving parent. I would not have the time to be one. But, sorry, I'm rambling a lot. I mean, you could tell I'm feeling better because I'm rambling. As for my health, I fucking went ADHD much. Just, well, look, a bird. Anyway, essentially, I am officially off of caffeine. I don't know if you guys saw the announcement, but as of 3 days ago, I believe it was, yeah, because I stopped on the 20th or 21st, I don't remember which. I have officially completely weaned myself off of caffeine for good. I haven't had a migraine since then. No more soda. Except for one. I found a loophole. I can still drink Sprite because it's sugar, but there's no caffeine. And even then, I will only drink that occasionally, right? Because drinking water 24/7, no disrespect to Dasani, obviously. Water's water. It's the same shit. Drinking water 24/7. Yes, it's good for your health, but it is maddening when you're stuck in the same place 24/7 with nothing to drink other than this. But don't get me wrong, I'm just grateful for the water, because faucet water in St. Louis is not, don't drink it, it's bad. I believe they're still letting it from the Hades. But yeah, I'm off caffeine. I started doing workouts. You guys probably can't even fucking tell. I feel like a douchebag for being like, hey, look at my muscle. But yeah, just basically getting back into the rhythm. I did something interesting. I mention a lot, and it's very clear that I'm superstitious, obviously. I'm pagan, I'm an empath, and I have a lot of different superstitions that are connected to how I see different things. Well, one of those things, and I mention it a lot, is that there's certain games I cannot play because it always happens. Every time I would play one of these 3 games, either Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3, right, the Uncharted series, or Little Big Planet 2, weirdly enough, something bad would always fucking happen. And I could not figure out what the fuck it was. Well, I got over my paranoia, because let's be honest, that's just paranoia. Whether or not you believe in the supernatural or not, that's irrelevant. It really did happen, and unfortunately that does leave an impact on the mind. As a way to, basically I associated it with negative events, because every single time it would fucking happen. For Kingdom Hearts specifically, oven exploded, almost got thrown out of our apartment, and landlord tried to illegally charge us $4,000 for damages that were there before we even moved in. True story, by the way. That was fun. Uncharted, Brittany almost got fired 3 times. Only on the 3 separate days I played Uncharted. So, one day, about 3 weeks later, and then the third time, this is how I knew it wasn't just a weird coincidence, an entire 2 months later, on the exact fucking day I played the Uncharted games, she almost got fired. Something bad just really fucking happened. Well, then again, her job's kind of a dick anyway. I'm not going to say what it is, since I don't want to get her in trouble. But, a hint. Retail hell. So, to basically break away from that, I said, fuck it. Universe, cut me some goddamn slack. My mother's in the hospital fighting for her life. I just found out one of my closest friends was a pedophile all these years, and I had no way of fucking knowing this, and still have no way to fucking cope with this. So, instead of making it about myself, I want to reach out to the victims and see if they need professional help and if I can help. I'm even talking to BJC about it, the hospital that gives me services for my bipolar disorder, and see if they can help me reach out and see if we can help these people, because I want to help them recover. Trauma is a horrible thing, and no one, especially children, should have to go through it. And I'm not gonna lie, it's very difficult for me to talk about it, because even just someone knowing that I was associated with this person this many years ago, it's the internet. People are automatically be like, oh, you found out, you were friends with someone who was a pedophile. Yes, but it's not that simple. You can know someone 10 years ago, still know they exist 10 years later, and never know what they did in that 10-year gap. And unfortunately, a lot of the internet doesn't understand that, because there was a really good... there's a lot of good artists that were, unfortunately, very critically bashed for knowing Jude Warrior, who was a known rapist. And even though they didn't know, even though they didn't do anything, they were still fucking canceled, because cancel culture. I could go on a field day about that. But yeah, that's why it's very nervous to talk about. It's like, plus I'm still just trying to figure out, what the fuck makes someone think that shit's okay to do? I don't get the reasoning behind that. Either way. Alright, sorry. That shit just still, more than anything, now it's just pissing me off. I don't even feel pain about his loss anymore. I'm just fucking pissed that he did that. And again, I have a drive. I want to reach out to the victims and see if I can help. I am both a survivor of a rape attack, of a survivor of rape. I was also groomed by the same woman who raped me, and I've been abused in every sense of the word. I've also been stabbed, shot, and burned, so, yeah. I feel like I could at least empathize and be like, hey, I've been in your shoes. Is there anything you want to help you? Would you like professional help? Would you like someone to talk to who understands what you've been through? Just reach out to them person to person and be like, hey, yes, it is true, I knew this person. No, I did not know this person was this way. And instead of being, instead of just making it, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know, it's like, no, this isn't about me, you know what I mean? These people were victims of some of the worst shit that could happen to a human being. So I don't want to be like, oh, oh, it's horrible, I knew him. No. You can't look at it that way, because I feel like that's missing the point. It's like, if I actually meet these people, right? Individuals, sorry, not people. I came off offensive. Sorry. If I meet these individuals, and I say something along the lines of like pretend you're the victim. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry that happened. I knew this person. I'm sorry I didn't know he was like that. Oh, this is impacting me so much, right? Then you're making it about yourself, right? You're not making it about the victim and helping them recover. I know I feel like I'm just ranting and lecturing, but again, I just have a very strong opinion on this shit. Again, especially with suicide, I feel like it's very selfish to look at suicide as, oh, but you're going to hurt this, and this, or you're leaving this behind, instead of, how can we help you not feel like you want to blow your brains out? Like, I feel like that should be the core thing. Obviously, both are important, but I feel like that second one should really be, have more focus than it actually has nowadays. But no, I would say basically, I'm sincerely sorry this happened to you. I was a victim of something similar. Is there anything you would like to talk about? Is there any way I can help you recover? Like, I know professional therapists and psychiatrists. I would be more than happy to get a hold of them to help you heal, essentially. But I don't know if that's possible, right? But, or if they'd even want to talk to me because I knew this person, right? Which is, again, fair. You got to look at it from their perspective. They don't know I didn't know this about them, right? They don't know I haven't spoken to this person in over 12 years. You know what I mean? So to them, they're like, "Oh, this was this person's friend, right? Oh, they enabled it." It's like, "No, I didn't know. But I do want to fix the damage they've caused so that you can have a healthy life." Kind of thing. But yeah, it's a very, I don't want to say touchy because it's not controversial. It's very difficult to tackle a subject like that from my perspective. Because it's like, what victim of someone who did something like that would want to speak to the friend, quote unquote, because again, I don't even, the ex-friend, there you go, the ex-friend of the person who did it to them in the first place, right? Who would automatically just be like, "Oh yeah, it's totally fine." You know what I mean? That's fucked up. So yeah, I don't know. I want to help them, but I'm also scared to reach out because it's like, I don't know. What could I do? The most I could do is offer empathy and sympathy, offer to help them get professional help, and hopefully get them on the right track so they can heal and have a long, fulfilling life. But yeah, those kind of traumas, some people don't bounce back from it, unfortunately. It just, again, it's a testament to how severe it is of a trauma to go through. But back to the health thing, I essentially have been drinking lots of water. Literally nothing but water. It's driving me insane just a little bit. As you can see, my teeth. Sorry, they're gross, but I'm working on them is essentially what I'm saying. My sister Crystal told me about this kind of treatment they're apparently doing all over the world that's apparently pissing off dentists, where you take coconut oil, pure coconut oil, and just a teaspoonful, put it in your mouth, and you slosh around for 20 minutes. I don't know the science behind it, so I'm not going to openly promote it. I'll just say what I've been doing, and you guys can take it from there. If you want to try it, you can. But essentially what it does is it apparently takes the rot and the not cavities, but just like the physical dirt and stuff out of your teeth. So like these black holes in my teeth, I still think they're dead. Those wouldn't be black anymore. They'd still be damaged, right? And the enamel would still be gone, like it is on all my teeth, unfortunately. But they would visibly start to look cleaner. Not whiter, but cleaner. How do I put this into words? Whiter would be that there's like no cavities, right? It's shiny and everything, but cleaner just means that there's no bacteria and no infection, which for me is a big one. 'Cause, we actually thought the migraines, believe it or not, before we found out it was due to the caffeine, was because of my teeth. Because apparently that can cause it. That's fun to know. So yeah, I've been doing that. I've been doing daily workouts. And again, apologies for stumbling over my words and bringing up the whole situation with you-know-who. It's just really, really difficult to talk about. Usually I have no qualms about talking about stuff like this, but it's just more so the realization of how much fucked up shit was done. You know what I mean? In this... I'm going to phrase this as best I can. I wish I would have somehow known sooner so I could have stopped him and saved those people. I don't know how that came off. I meant to be like, hey, I would want to have somehow found out something that could have helped me prevent it from happening so that those people do not have those traumas. Again, I'm trying my best to phrase things. It's just really difficult. But I don't know. It's a lot. That's for damn sure. And it's like, I don't care how it's affecting me at this point, right? I'm past that point. I'm more pissed than anything. I care about how it's affecting the victims. These are human beings that were violated in the most horrible ways possible. And I want to help them, but I don't know how. And this sucks because this is something I enjoy doing. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy talking people down from suicide. for no other reason, no joke, just to see them feel better, just to know that their life is getting better, just to see that they're healing and feeling better and not feeling like absolute shit all the time. Because I've been there. I've explained it before, but there's a certain level of depression someone gets to where they're in this place I call the darkness. And yes, it's whatever, Kingdom Hearts terminology, whatever the fuck, I don't care. It's just the best way I can phrase it, right? Where no one or nothing reaches to you. There's no amount of sincerity or loving words or anything can reach through to you and get you out of that darkness. And so I've been practicing for years on how to teach people how to do it themselves. Because you can be talking to the love of your life, but if you are depressed enough, even they won't be able to reach through to you. And that's not a testament of like anything against the significant other or family member or friend or anything. It's just the depression is just that fucking deep. It's that strong, and that you're that fucking tired. The best thing I can say is, when you're in that darkness, remember it's not reality. Remember that that place you're in mentally is not the real world. It is a manifestation of what you're going through. It is not your actual life. Yes, you've been through a lot. Yes, you have suffered indignities, traumas, and violations, both physical, and mental, depending on what each individual one of you has done, as far as like trying to cope with everything and what you've been through specifically. But it's not your life. It doesn't have to be, and it's not. It happened, yes. But it doesn't have to be the end of your life. When I was raped by my ex, it shell-shocked me. I was in shock for a good 6 months, actually. But believe it or not, one of the things that helped me cope with that trauma was meeting Brittany. She would visit me at work, and I would visit her as a regular customer at her job at the time. And it started to remind me that there was still good in the world. There was that no matter, like, as badly as I was violated, there was still people out there that I could talk to, I could be myself around, and that I could start to get out of that hole, and I don't know, it's just over time after talking to Brittany, I started to feel better and better and better, and it's like, and it wasn't like because I was falling for anything. I mentioned it a lot, but Brittany and I actually fell in love at a place called City Museum here in St. Louis. It's a nice, cool, gigantic place where you climb literally everything. It's incredible. And I'll get back to the story of coping with all that after this, because I'm trying to mix in positivity as well as the negative stuff to just try not to overwhelm you guys and try to keep it I don't want to say easier to watch because it feels like I'm sugarcoating, but I'm not. I'm just trying to keep a flow going that's easier to comprehend and is easier to deal with and sit through without, making you feel worse, for instance, if you're already going through shit yourself. You know what I mean? But essentially, my wife, who's, I don't know what she's doing. What are you doing, honey?
Putting some dishes away.
You,
Tomorrow for clean.
okay.
But it's already 11 o'clock. So
You,
you know that.
okay. Do you feel better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still kinda hungry.
Yeah, I am too. Can you check if the vegan stuff is thawed out? I'll cook it after this.
That's what I'm trying to clean up as I go.
Alrighty. I'm telling the story about City Museum, by the way.
It was this place. It was this place I went to.
She
grade
fucking
school.
sneezed what she tried to say.
I have to believe say late 90s, early 2000s. It was my first time going there in over 20 years.
Can they hear you? No, honey, they can't hear you.
Don't worry about it. Just say that it's the first it was the place I went to back in grade school.
Oh, okay. She wanted me to mention that City Museum was a place she went back to in grade school. She had told me it was one of her very few fond childhood memories. So for 6 months, was it the 6 month or the 1 year?
It was like the 1 year I
It was the 1 year. Yeah, it was our first major anniversary. Everybody knows if you're in a relationship, the 1 year is the big one. It's like the first major one. It shows that you're. I don't want to say it shows you're serious about the person, because And fuck it. It shows you're serious about the person. We'll just go with that for now since I can't phrase it better. And so she had mentioned it was one of the only good memories she had of her childhood. So I thought, instead of taking her to a nice fancy restaurant, because neither of us had the money of that, neither of us even gave a shit about fancy restaurants, to be honest. We're not that kind of people. We'd rather just, go to a nice coffee shop, read a book together, just cuddle, because we're both scholars, essentially. You probably couldn't tell from my linguistics, but yeah, sorry, my phrasing's bad. So I took her to City Museum. And we were at the Upper Cafe area. I'm going to try and describe this place as best as I can. So there's jungle gyms around this. There's like these climbable bars around this tree stump made of crystal that you can climb up and everything. Well, above there to the left was the cafe where you could just get cheap food. We sat down, had a soda. And the joy I saw in her eyes, it made me blush. I had never seen her so happy before, and the only thing I could think of, I could think of at that time was, one, I love this woman, and two, how can I make her this happy more? So that was the day I had fallen head over heels in love with her, just a year into our relationship. Hi, baby boy, come on. Brittany, stop cleaning the dishes. Jet's gonna claw me. Here's the baby, by the way. Alright. But yeah, that's one of the reasons. What are you doing? But yeah, that's where we fell in love. But we started to talk about 4 months 4 months after the trauma had happened. She met my ex. She met the woman who did it. And basically I was just trying to get out of my comfort zone, trying to, get out of my head, because when you go through something like that, the main thing you do is you disassociate from anyone. Particularly of the gender, depending on who did it to you, I've noticed. At least in my case. I don't want to speak for other victims, obviously. But she was like the one woman I could talk to that I felt comfortable talking to because of the whole incident. And about, I want to say 5 months into it, so like a month later, was when I asked her out, and you guys know the story from there. So essentially what I'm saying is that it doesn't take some grandiose kind of leap of faith in order to get out of that darkness. Sometimes it just takes having that one person that you can talk to, that you can reach out to. That admittedly, you will be shy at first. It's not going to be easy, obviously. But when you go through something like that, I can't promise you recovery is possible. Isn't always possible depending on the severity, right? But like with most things, it is possible depending on that. And yeah, wifey was a big part of that for me. But that was the other reason why the whole thing with him hit me so hard. It's like, not only was this someone I looked up to and someone I grew up with, but I was also a victim of it. So it hit me that much deeper that I couldn't do anything to stop it. I had no knowledge of any of this because up until the actual suicide, Patrick and I hadn't heard from him in about 12 years. And and I'll be honest, it's kept me up at night. It's like, what could I have done to help? What could I have done to reach those people before that happened to them? And obviously there's not really much I could do. I had no knowledge of anything, but I just, that guilt still hangs with me. Because I always preach about how I want to prevent people from going through what I went through. Well, that was an instance where I could have done so had I had knowledge at the time, but, that lack of knowledge is what aches at me. But yeah, talking to Brittany helped me cope with it. Just essentially trying to get as little isolation as possible at the time. As weird as that sounds, surrounding myself with people who were positive, people who were, very giggly, admittedly. Like, a lot of my friends are giggle bores. Like, Thomas, for instance, he cracks me up every time I talk to him. He's an amazing man. I do not deserve him as a friend, honestly. I've had to ask him for help with a lot of stuff, unfortunately. And in the process, he's cut into stuff he needed to save. So it's like, yeah, I feel like a shitty friend. He said he's happy to do it because I do it for him. But it's like, that guilt still lingers. No one would ever wants to ask anyone for assistance with money. No one. And it's not even a pride thing. It's just I don't want to be a shitty friend. Like, I've known the man going on 19 years now, because we celebrated 18-year friendship anniversary, I believe, 2 months ago. So yeah, that just weighs on me. So essentially, one of the big things I was tackling was to help my mental health was just this feeling of uselessness. I don't feel like I fit in with my family anymore. I feel like the black sheep, and I don't mean that as in like an edgy, my family's square and I'm just a rebel. No, I just don't feel comfortable with my family anymore. My own father, who I used to worship, quote unquote, obviously not literally, but someone I really looked up to, I can't even hardly talk to anymore. My sister, if I try to vent to her, she just fucking tells everybody. So I'm at this crossroads where I have to decide whether or not do I cut off my family, because even my fiance's pointed out, like, there's a lot of toxicity in the family. A lot. Nowhere near as bad as hers, thankfully, but still a lot. And it's just, do I want to cut them off for the sake of my health, or do I just want to stick things out and hope things get better? And I'll be honest, I still haven't made a decision on that yet. Like, with Mom, we've made amends somewhat, right? Which is good, because she's going into surgery in like 2.5 weeks, something like that. What is it, 24th? Yeah, 2 weeks, just about, whatever, 2 weeks and a day. But yeah, it's just a lot. But yeah, the way I coped with being raped was not the same thing as another person would do to cope as well. This is another thing, is when it comes to touchy subjects like this, as well as suicide, you can't tackle it all the same way. There's various different ways to reach out to those people. There's various different ways to help them cope, and for them to be able to cope in the first place. And honestly, the best advice I can give to anyone who's ever been a victim of anything like that, or even remotely as bad as that, or any sort of trauma to begin with, honestly, because this is a pretty universal thing, is surround yourself with positivity as much as possible. Surround yourself with things that you know would make you happy. Because you'll be surprised to find that even in those darkest moments, there are some things that you won't even realize it will still make you happy despite all that. And it really does help. And honestly, speaking from experience, it could save your life. That could be the difference between you recovering and you going into a deeper downward spiral, is whether or not you actively surround yourself with stuff that makes you happy. It could be music, you could draw, you could play a video game. That's what I've been doing. Just anything that makes you happy. It doesn't matter what it is. But, yeah. As for the stream and everything, I'm actually moving the stream to July 31st instead of August 1st, because I don't want to start streaming on a Tuesday. That would be weird and kind of fuck with the schedule a little bit. I also want to make it a charity stream. I'm going to have a few new friends who are going to join as co-commentators. And given the circumstances with him, I want you guys' opinion on this. I want to make it a charity stream to bring awareness to victims of rape, male, female, trans, whole 9 yards. Because it's the one topic I have never been able to tackle with the charity stream, and I feel like now more than ever would be a more appropriate time to address it, given the circumstances. And since I can't actively reach out to the individuals and help them, maybe I can help others. I don't know. I don't want to say instead, because it sounds like I'm just like pushing, the victims away. It's just, I don't know. Maybe this way I can do my part, is what I'm trying to say, and help prevent it from happening to others. And if it has happened to them, help them learn to heal and move forward. And there is a very common mentality that comes from being a victim of rape, and yes, it is very common. You don't trust that gender because you associate that gender because of that event with abuse. For me, it took me about 8 months to fully get over it. And when I mean get over it, I mean like overcome it and to be able to trust again. And this is after, like I said, being beaten to near death, being stabbed, being shot, and being burned. It took me about 8 to 9 months to finally heal enough to be able to start trusting again. And the first person I was talking to was her. Which, again, helps. Find a friend you can confide in and talk to them. True friends will listen to you. True friends will hear you out and be there for you. And also understand that if someone can't answer, try not to take it personally. I know in that delicate state, because of how vulnerable you feel and how scared you feel, you will take things more personally than you would normally, just because you feel you have this kind of perception that makes you think, oh, I'm just a burden or anything. You're not. Everybody's busy. It happens. And I know that's very hard to accept when you're going through something like that. Trust me, it took me a long time to realize, hey, my friends aren't ignoring me. They're just busy. But to learn that mentality right out the gate really does help with the recovery, because it lets you know, oh, they're not ignoring me. My friends aren't avoiding me. They're just really busy. And you'll notice that your fears will thankfully be subsided, and they will reach out and just like, hey, are you okay? Do you want to talk, kind of thing. So that's just a major thing, is just have someone to talk to. And let's do like this. What is this?
Oh, that's cottage cheese. Cottage cheese with peach. It's actually a surprisingly good combo.
Be gone.
I just need
Be gone, demon. Why are children glaring at me? Brittany, the baby. He's looking right at you now. As for streams, July 31st is when we're going to do it. I want to make it a rape prevention / rape awareness stream. I'm going to check Tiltify to see if they have an organization like that. I haven't been able to find one before, which is literally the only reason I haven't tackled it before. But if not, I can reach out to Samaritan and see if they can help me. What had in charge?
My phone.
It helps if you plug in the power strip, love.
It was plugged in.
Clearly not. You just plugged it in.
No,
Also, the
it
baby.
unplugged when I moved it.
The baby's after your cord. I hate having ADHD. So my distraction, my attention just goes wee. What are you doing?
Getting ready for bed.
Look at the baby. Look at the baby.
I'm trying to be on video.
I'm surprised.
I'm actually with y'all. Work that out.
I'm gonna tickle you when I come to bed.
Sorry. Like I said, I'm queen.
This is really hard to talk about as it is.
Sorry.
I'm going into things I never go into for reasons. Mainly just to empathize with the victims. And again, try and help. I want to help somehow, I just don't know how. So instead, what I'm going to do for now is do a charity stream on that topic, which I feel like if I say again, I'm going to have to put a trigger warning. And yeah, as for like the schedule and everything, it's going to be the regular, but we might add a new game to speedrun on Sundays to fill out everything. What are you doing?
Getting ready for bed.
My tablet.
Nope, that's mine.
Mine. Fucker. So basically, West of Loathing will begin. It'll start as a charity stream, but we'll continue it as a series from that day because it's a long fucking game. With guest commentators and friends to help basically just make everything funny, because the game's funny, but I'm not. I'll introduce you to the new friends I met on PlayStation that have been really cool and very supportive. They've actually been helping me through this whole process almost as much as Britt has. After that, we will be revisiting Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, but we'll be doing that on my laptop because we're going to play it with mods. Because I finally figured out how to do that. And from there, I'm also going to start bringing back, because we're getting more interaction on the Discord, I'm going to bring back movie nights and TV show nights. And the first thing we want to watch is a horror movie. So, actually, let's save that for October, actually. It's going to be Skinamarink. It's a horror movie that did something that has not happened to me in a very long time. It is a horror movie that actually gave me fucking nightmares. It's a very fucked up movie. And if you're a parent, I don't recommend watching it because this it doesn't pull punches. They kill kids. It pulls no fucking punches. It's terrifying. It's really well done though. It's known as an experimental horror film. It's not even really a. It's not really a horror film. Wendigoon, channel I've been really hooked on lately, put it best. It's experimental would be the way to put it. But it's really good. We're also going to bring back Supernatural because you guys seem to have liked that a lot. But yeah, basically I'm just getting back to the full swing of things. But as for like specific times, it'll be 2 p.m. like usual. But there might be some days I might have to call off, depending, because Britt and I are still in the process of planning our hand fasting for next month. Because yes, we are officially getting married finally. I have her ring on back order, and I will have it by probably the 1st, hopefully. If not, the latest, the 3rd. So just before Mom's surgery, which that's another thing. We need to plan this so that Mom can be there since she's the minister. Hand fastings usually require a registered pagan minister, and my mom actually is one. But yeah, I think that just about covers everything. I'm not speaking to the majority of my family at the moment. Call it petty, but that wasn't cool to leave me out of it. I've even talked to my fiance, I've talked to my caseworker, I've talked to friends, and even other family, and they agreed it was bullshit that I was left out of that information, as well as not even put on the contact list. Yeah. So, not speaking to most of my family. Getting my health back in shape by working on it physically and mentally, because I'm also drinking lots of water. Caffeine deficiency, migraines are gone. I'm doing workouts every day, which again you can't even tell yet. I'll do it. I posted a topless picture on Instagram that once I start to build up muscle, I'll post another picture like before and after kind of thing. So that was the idea. What else? West of Loathing starts on the 31st. It will be a charity stream. Actually, even that's up in the air because I still need to find the organization. But for now, take it with a grain of salt. Hopefully it'll be a charity stream because even though it's my big return to streaming, I don't want to make it about myself. I want to do it for a good cause. I hate making things about myself, honestly. That's why I don't like these update videos. But I also want to be transparent with you guys, so I compromise and, make these for you. Like I said, Kingdom Hearts after that, which I'm very excited about because I got a mod that allows me to start with all drive forms. It'll be a very short series because I beat the game in like less than 12 hours. Even for the lingering will. But yeah, that's just about everything, I believe. Mom's surgery is on the 8th. Brittany and I are getting married paganly, because they're not legally, sadly, on the 23rd, hopefully. And yeah, streams will return then. So yeah, apologies for the super long video. My thoughts are all over the place. Like I said, it's been a very rough time lately. I'm feeling much better, hence why I'm rambly. We also just watched the series finale of the Venture Bros called the Heart of the Baboon, right, Brett? I fucking hold on a minute. Let me see if I can find the name. Venture Bros. Yep, Radiant is the Blood of the Baboon Heart. We just watched it. It was fucking incredible. I am also 100% certain that Mr. White is based on Doc Hammer himself, design-wise. Look at the hair of Mr. White, and then look at the actual portrait they have for Doc Hammer. It's not important. But, yeah, that pretty much wraps up everything. I don't think I'm missing anything. I'm taking a minute to think. Because I don't want to make another one of these unless I have to. Yeah, no, I think that's everything. Alrighty. Thank you guys for watching this. Thank you for hearing me ramble for an hour. Sorry. Again, thoughts are all over the place, which is a good thing. It means I'm getting my energy back and I'm starting to feel better. I just need to take my meds for the hyperness to mellow out a little bit. But yeah, I will definitely see about reaching out and I guess trying to figure out how to help. I mean, again, because I was friends with that person years ago, they might not even want to talk to me, which is fair, but I want to at least make sure that they're able to get help because again, as a victim of it myself, I understand how brutal it is to go through, and dehumanizing and violating. And I just, I want to help them recover as soon as possible, because I recovered, but not everybody does, and I just want to make sure that they can, kind of thing. But yeah, I'm gonna go lay down with wifey. You guys everybody have an awesome night. And yeah, love you, appreciate you, and as always, stay strong no matter what. Bye, guys. Sorry this was a long one.